All right. You know, we always start these adventures out with coffee. And I know you're wondering, Quackers, where is the scooters? Don't worry, we're going to treat ourselves with scooters today. But the problem is, Caramelicious tastes too good. I'll finish that whole thing before I get out of the parking lot. And today we're going to go on the road. We're going to take a trip about 30-40 minutes away to the town of Garretson. So I need a hotter coffee that is going to last me throughout the duration of getting there at least. And Caramelicious just ain't going to last past the parking lot. So I scooted on down to the Quick Star instead. Got me a hazelnut with some raw sugar and a couple of squirts of alert syrup, and I'm good to go. Today's plan, as I said, we're going to Garretson. I'm going to go down to, I'm going to take a look at the downtown area at Split Rock Park and make my way over to Devil's Gulch, where I am going to tell the story of the Jesse James getaway and escape following the famous Northfield bank robbery. And I'll probably tell the story of that robbery leading up to it, just so there's more substance. And that's the plan anyway. It's not very nice weather today. It's thunderstorms rolled through yesterday. It's still rainy today. I'm concerned about that because I'm going to an area with quartzite cliffs that are very slippery when wet. So that's a danger element to keep in mind with today's video. I think the goal today is to lean more heavily into storytelling. These last 4 weeks, I was just trying to build consistent habits as far as getting myself out and getting into the habit of filming. And the fact that I'm out on a cold, wet, windy, rainy day tells me that those habits are taking root, right? So now I want to work on other things. And the main one is I want to learn to lean more heavily into storytelling, because good videos are all about telling a story. Even if it's just a story of someone getting through their day, it's always about telling a story. So I want to lean really hard into storytelling and get some practice at that. I want to work on maybe not licking my lips on camera. It annoys me that I do that, and possibly saying the word a little less. But I'm not going to stress out over those things much. It's just things I want to consciously try to make improvements on. And as I always say, the goal is not perfection. The goal is just to be 1% better than last week. So I'm sure I can make a 1% improvement on those things, right? So anyway, the weather is not great. I'm going to get out and get through it anyway. The show must go on. The next time you see me, we will be in Garretson, South Dakota. Give you guys just a quick little glimpse of the town of Garretson. The plan right now, well, all the lamp poles have speakers playing music. Hopefully YouTube doesn't slap me for that. Anyway, the plan is I'm just going to walk around, grab some random shots of things. I may even use a few out of this video. I'm just going to grab some random shots, try to pick out the spot where I want to do the intro, and then I'll just kind of go from there. I like to do these random shot videos when I first arrive, just because it helps settle me in, calm me into the location, get me used to being there, being the only one out filming what all of these people see as just an everyday place. But to me, it's a first time adventure, right? So it's all new to me, and I want to see it and I want to capture it for everyone else to see as well. Wow, what is this? Rainbow Delight. Rainbow Delight. Old time thrift store. There's lots of old historic buildings in this town, so I'm going to try to pick one of those maybe as a place to do my intro, and then we'll just move on from there. The weather is still kind of yucky. It's drizzling off and on, so I'm hoping that the weather holds off long enough for me to get this done. So on that note, I need to get started. I'll check back in with you after I do that. Okay, so far so good. As you can see behind me, we are no longer in downtown Garretson. We are in Split Rock Park on the edge of town. This is Split Rock Creek. Everything went okay downtown. For some reason, I felt nervous, like it was my first time doing it. In fact, I wasn't even that nervous my first time. I don't know why, but I got through it. I got the lines delivered. I don't know if I did it as smoothly as I would have liked to, but I did get the lines delivered. I got the footage that I needed. So end of the day, that's good enough, right? Time to move on. Move on. I did my intro downtown. I told a little bit of the history of the town of Garretson, and then I opened things up to transition into the main content of the day. And so as I transition to that, I'm transitioning scenes, and this creek is part of that transition. So let me give you just a quick look around the surrounding areas, let you see where we're at. This park is absolutely beautiful. Could you imagine living in a town of fewer than 1,200 people and having a city park like this? This is amazing. So the plan now is I'm going to briefly, very briefly, within 2 or 3 sentences, tell the history of this dam, and then move on from there into the story of the day, which is the Northfield bank robbery of the James Younger Gang in 1876, and how that is connected to this town of Garretson, South Dakota. So that's the main theme of the day. We've got to get that going. So far, the weather is being reasonable. It is drizzling pretty much the whole time, but at least it's not like outright raining, and I hope it holds off from that. I'll be happy if it stays the way it is, you know, but at the end of the day, we got to channel our inner duck, right? You ever seen a duck in the rain? They just stand there. They're not bothered. So that's how I'm going to have to be today, too. Anyway, I am going to get back to it before the rain does decide to come. I hope it doesn't, but just in case, I want to get as much done as possible before then. So I'm going to get back to it, and I will check back in with you in a bit. Okay, so I've shown the area around here at Split Rock Park. I've shown the dam. I told quickly the history of the dam. Mentioned Devil's Gulch, and that is where we are ultimately going to today, and it is. I mostly just wanted to stop here just to show the beauty of the area. South Dakota is so incredibly beautiful, and I think it's the beauty of the outdoors area, the countrysides, is really where it's at with South Dakota, much more than the towns. But the story of the towns is also important, and that's why I want to tell them. So anyway, I've done that. I just licked my lips again, and damn, now that I've mentioned it, you'll probably see it in every one of my videos. I've got to break that habit. So anyway, let's get into it. I'm going to switch back over to the other channel now, get to work on Quackers World before the rain comes, and get started on the Northfield bank robbery. Thankfully, I have tons of notes today, and these ain't post-it notes like last week. This is 8.5 by 11 sheets of printer paper, and I've got 3 of them front and back to lay this story out the way I need to tell it, because I have to have something to keep me on track with all of this. So I'm going to get started. The story's going to start 200 miles from here in Northfield, Minnesota. I'm going to tell the story of the bank robbery, the events of the day. I'm going to try to go into as much detail as I possibly can. Remember, the lesson for today is to really push my storytelling experience and to get better at that. So that involves going into detail and allowing people to visualize the story that you're telling. So that's what I need to work on. That's what we're doing today. So I've got 5 pages, basically. If you count front and back as separate pages, I've got 5 pages of notes here to carry me through, and I'm just going to get into it, and we'll see what we end up with. I'll check in with you along the way. All right, so I've walked along through Split Rock Park now, showed some beautiful scenery, and I set up the scene for Northfield, Minnesota. I've started telling the story of the bank robbery. I'm still there inside the bank. Arthur Bunker has just ran out the back door, and Charlie Pitts shot him in the shoulder. I'm going to leave off there, and now I'm going to transition up to our next location, which is Devil's Gulch. But instead of just appearing at Devil's Gulch, I'm just going to go there, and I'm going to walk the long way around through the back way of Devil's Gulch, because I need time to continue telling this story. And hopefully, about the time I'm getting to some shots of the gulch itself and the cliffs, hopefully that will be about the time in the story where Jesse James is arriving at the gulch, or at least that's my intention. But right now, I'm still in the middle of the bank robbery. They haven't even gotten out of Northfield yet, and there's a lot of story between there and the time they get to Garretson. So, so far the weather is holding out good. It's holding out good. All right, I'll check back in with you in a bit. All right, so we have transitioned now from Split Rock Park to Devil's Gulch. I'm getting ready to continue the story. I'm going to wrap up this failure of a bank robbery and transition into the battle that took place in the streets of Northfield. Hopefully, about that time, I will be reaching an area called Devil's Ford. I'll show that and then move on from there. I'm at the start of the Gulch now, but I'm just not going to mention that. I'm just going to keep telling the story. And the idea is to just wind the long way around the Gulch, come out on the far side at the top of the cliffs, and that will give me time to tell the entire story, and then we will explore the Gulch further from there. So that's the plan. I'm going to find a spot here and get back to it. Just thought I would quickly show you guys Devil's Ford. This is the area upstream from Devil's Gulch. I'm not going to lie, I'm very nervous about crossing this. The last time I was here, this was dry, so I just strolled on across. But these rocks get very mossy and slippery when they are wet, and I'd really hate to go to the emergency room today. So I've got to get across this somehow. But the story, I think, is going good, okay, so far. I'm to the point where the Swedish immigrant was shot in front of the bank as the firefight erupts. So I'm going to get through this section, show a little bit of this area, and continue on with the firefight and the escape out of the town of Northfield. I need to give you an update. I guess I nearly forgot. Okay, I've gone all the way around the backside of the gorge. I've told the story of the Northfield bank robbery, of the shootout in town, of the escape through the sloughs, how they split up from the younger brothers. Next, I had forgotten to mention how the younger brothers got caught, so that's going to be the exact very next thing I do. Then I'm going to transition that into, shoot, I should just walk back down the trail and redo. No, I'll just do it from here. This is behind the scenes, right? Anyway, this is what the process is like. So I need to quickly mention somehow, figure out how to work in how the younger brothers were caught. I've already mentioned that Jesse and Frank had split up at Split Rock Creek. Frank rode west deeper into the Dakota Territory. Jesse took the east side of the creek, which led him here to Devil's Gulch, which I am going to show next. So I've got to do all of that part. Then I'm going to show the Gulch. And after that, I'm going to go over to the exact spot where the jump supposedly took place. We'll take a look at it, see what we think, if it happened or not. Okay, so I have wrapped up everything to do with the James gang. I've showed brace myself here. I've showed the location of the jump. Woo, this place. You got to be careful out here. You sometimes got to just bend over and grab onto a boulder as you make your way down. But I showed the location of the jump, discussed the possibilities as to whether or not that jump happened. Now I am moving into talking about the treasure portion of Devil's Gulch, to which there are a couple of theories, a couple of stories to dive into. I think it will give just another layer of being interesting to this spot, which is just naturally beautiful. That's the main thing. I'm trying to show the beauty of this location, while also giving story and background to bring it to life and make it more interesting. So I'll give you one quick look around where we're at, because I haven't showed you the bottom of the Gulch here yet. I'll give you a quick look at where we're at, and then I'm going to flip back over to the other video and try to get this going. So far, the rain is still holding off. I'm very thankful for that, but I hear once in a while some rolls of thunder in the distance. So I do want to get through this, get it wrapped up, and get out of here, because it's already slippery enough. All right, so let me show you what it looks like here at the bottom of the Gulch, and I'll check back in a bit. Okay, so still down in the bottom of the Gulch. I really love the vibe down here. It feels so much, the top feels like it's got an anxiety to it. And down here is just so relaxed and peaceful. There's birds flying around everywhere. So it's so relaxed and peaceful. So I came down here. There's two parts to the hidden treasure at Devil's Gulch. One is these myths I don't believe related to Jesse James. So I just quickly told what those are and told why I don't believe they're true. My noise canceling probably filtered that, but it's thunder. I got to get going. So I dispelled that. I'm going to take a quick smoke break. I did it again. Did you see that? God, I hope I didn't do it on the other video. Anyway, I'm going to take a quick smoke break. Then I'm going to tell about the Knights of the Golden Circle and the treasure associated with that, and why people believe that there is Confederate gold hidden here in Devil's Gulch. So that's the next thing. I'm just going to show some more of the bottom of the gulch. I'm going to lay that part of the story out, and then I'll figure out what I'm going to do to wrap up the video at the end. But yeah, so far it's coming along. Still no rain, but the thunder has me scared. I got to move. Let's go. All right, so now I'm back up on top again. I went through an area at the bottom of the gulch, explained all about the treasure myths, made my way back up to the top. I connected the myths to Jesse James. Now I'm back at the top at the crossing at the exact spot. This footbridge here is at the exact spot where he supposedly jumped. See if we can get you up higher. And so I'm back. I'm back at this epic spot. Hold on, let me turn you around real quick. So now I just have to wrap up the video. Introduce next week's video. I always like to give some type of a prologue, or whatever you would call it, in advance of what the next video is going to be. I do that not only to give people a reason to come back if it sounds like something they would be interested in, but I do it mostly just to push myself. Okay, I've called out what the video is going to be. Now I have to do it. I've said what I'm going to film and what day it's coming out. I have to do it. So it's also just a way of pushing myself. So I'm going to come back over to the middle of the bridge. I'm going to film the end of this, walk away from the bridge, and introduce next week's video. And that'll be a wrap for Devil's Gulch. Whether or no, we got it done. I'm so happy. So I'm not sure if I will film anything else for the backstage or not between now and then. Who knows what's going to come up as editing takes place. But so far, I'm pretty happy with how it went, and I'm glad I got out today, even though the weather wasn't really ideal. Whew. All right, so I stumbled. I had to do 3 takes on that ending, and it was a very simple ending. I don't know how it took me 3 takes, but I got it done. I'm right back at the car now. That video is done. This one may or may not be done. As I say, we don't know until we get into editing what happens, but I feel good about it. It can rain now. I hope it holds off until I get home, but either way, at least I'm not going to be directly out in it. I'm so glad. And actually, it turned out, I think it's okay, because a good part of this story, or not a good part, but probably a fourth of the story, is the James Younger gang. They were in the sloughs of southern Minnesota, and it was raining for a week, and they were already wet just from the nature of where they were at, but it was raining for a week. And so maybe it's appropriate that we've got these dismal skies overhead in this video. Maybe that was just meant to be. Next week, I'm going to go downtown. I'm going to show a historic area downtown, but we'll worry about that after this one is up. So yeah, I'm going to move on. I'm happy with how it turned out. I don't know what it's going to be after it's edited, but I'm happy with what I've got to work with. Let's go. We got another one in the books, and number 5, plus we had a bonus video last week. That's 6 videos in. I'm loving it. Let's go. What? I didn't think I was going to forget this, did you? Heck no. It is an unwritten rule of the Backstage channel that every behind the seats episode must include a Caramelicious at some point. I only have these once a week. I use them to treat myself, and it's particularly rewarding on a day like today where the weather was just dog water. It was cold, wet, windy, and I didn't feel like going out, but I pushed through and I did it anyway. And I'm incredibly glad that I did. Well worth it. I haven't had a chance to even look at the footage yet. I just got back to the house, back at the casa. Just got back, so I haven't even looked at the footage yet. That's the next step. I have to offload everything onto the computer. I have to watch everything, delete the ones that are outtakes, ones that I had to retake, separate out which ones are for this channel and which ones are for Quackers World. And I'll do all that tonight. If I have time, I will maybe lay out a rough cut, but really tomorrow is edit day. Wednesday it goes live. So if you would like to see the video that I made today at Devil's Gulch, where I talked about the Northfield Bank robbery and the Jesse James jump over the gulch and the hidden treasure, if you're interested in seeing that, as always, I will leave a link below in the pinned comment to the video over on the other channel. Until then, I guess that's about it. I love you guys. Quackers out. Immediately after he got hit in the mail, blah, 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 blah. Let's retake. Gather my thoughts. Okay. Here we go. What happened next was a 7-minute firefight, and by some accounts, hundreds of rounds of ammunition were exchanged. Blah, blah, blah. Let's redo it. Let's redo it. Cut. Until then, blah, blah, blah. We're going to redo it again. I fucked up at the same spot.